Yes, sir. Today we are discussing about modern science and scientific methods. Is how exactly this modern science is involved. Begin with the purpose or question. See, whenever we are going to do any of the research scientifically, every research began with the purpose. What is your basic objective that needs to have one of the scientific proof? So maybe we can go for taking the simple consideration here as like why Indians they consume that spicy food in different locations, whereas the same spicy food at that much of spices will not be consumed in some other locations of the same country, India. Now, so food has got its own preferences in a different perspectives into different locations. One of the easiest way of approach we started analyzing scientifically, why do we need to narrate this? There should be an objective. Whether you are involved into this food production or food processing, then your objective is there. Hope so you're analyzing the viewpoint here. So there should be a purpose. So narrate your purpose, narrate your objectives with at least two or three objectives. Why do we want to study? Correct. Then it comes to the second point of research. Research consists of the questionnaire as well as the direct interview. Very much clear that we are going to prepare the questionnaire. Then who's your respondent? Yes. Try to predefine who can give or who may give the response to questions. So prepare that particular thought process in the beginning stage of preparation of your question. So who may give responses and who are all going to be your respondents list. Prepare that. So all the respondents may not able to have that much of patience to give the answers to your questionnaire. Correct. Go for conducting that direct interview. Raise the questions. Maybe all the time you may not able to restrict to all the respondents respond through questionnaire. Go for conducting the direct interview through your own kind of approach. Raise the same questions in your hypothetical manner. So probably your response is what you want to receive. With the sentences what you want to record. That's going to be the proof. Where you are going to arrive at your own summary, conclusion. Correct. But how to conclude any one of the topic, any one of the research? That's the point. Begin with hypothesis. Every time we will be having our own assumption. The scientific assumption is to be called hypothesis. So here the question is going to get began with null and hypothesis with respect to alternative. So null hypothesis is about we are arriving at one of the conclusion before the survey work, before the research, we are arriving at one of the scientific conclusion in our mindset. That can be considered as scientific assumption or else null hypothesis. Null in the sense zero. Hypothesis, that's about assumptions. So there is no further assumptions apart from this. null. Okay, but whether is that full and final? Not necessary. We might have the alternative hypothesis. Then what is that alternative hypothesis is all about? Whether we need to have only one alternative hypothesis? Not necessary. So we were raising one of the question into that object as like yes, preference of spicy food with different locations. Now, null hypothesis. Yes, so spicy food has been preferred in India. We are arriving at one of the scientific assumption. But come to alternative hypothesis. Make a list one. Yes, some of the geographical spaces where they doesn't want to have more spices. Second alternative assumption. Most of the Indian places has the culture, habit of having the same spicy food. Okay. Third assumption. No, most of the house prepared food, home prepared food, has got its own preferences based upon the consumption pattern of that family, and preferences will be more on children. See, the difference we are finding it out as alternative options. So children they cannot consume more amount of spicy food. Then maybe your preparation at wholesome of the family food will be spiceless. Got the point very clearly. Correct. But experiment is required. Then how to experiment this? So we have one null hypothesis and three alternative hypotheses now. So start defining the research instruments. Whether you are trying to correlate all your hypothesis, whether you are trying to apply the regression analysis, where which one is giving its own priority, or also whether you are trying to look forward into the calculation of the averages as like mean, median, mode. Just try to define the research instruments, what exactly you are trying to make use of. Correct. Then data analysis. So with the data analysis, go for collecting the data based upon the questionnaire as well as direct interview, and try to start narrating each and every outcome for every question from every respondent. Whatever you have got the point, make a summary into the table. Then that summaries need to be narrated into the statement form as a conclusion. That summary of analysis and findings, what you are going to come out. So the maximum amount of responses are lying down into, that's going to become your conclusion. So here, the most important aspect we need to understand. It is not necessary that your alternative hypothesis need to be not proven against your null hypothesis. Never ever. Maybe alternative hypothesis may go for winning the game against your null hypothesis because might be your alternative hypothesis are getting more preference in that locality. Correct. So we understood the modern science, the method into research. Thanks to everyone.